up to Washington that time. They had a couple games at home.
Yeah.
So I was there for one and left the morning of the next one.
Right. So, I mean, you spent some time in training camp, obviously, with Washington. So, what's it like, kind of like being around the guys in training camp in Washington compared to Hershey, and just the overall standpoint that you see and how you focus yourself on the game in the NHL or AHL?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's where you want to be up in the NHL. So it's good to be up there and get on the ice with those guys. Both teams have great groups of guys here. Everyone gels really well, same as up there. So that aspect is pretty similar. But being on the ice and stuff with those guys is good. Obviously, work for a goalie to try and adjust to that game.
Right. All right. So are there any like routines or rituals that you go through? I mean, as a goaltender, I mean, sometimes we've seen it in the past with Braden Holtby being here. He goes out on the bench and he's got his routine and whatnot during the game. Or we see even you during the game itself. You come out, it looks like just above the crease there, and you might stretch out or something. Is there anything pre-game that you go through?
For myself, I don't really like superstitions or anything. I like to, I guess my rituals would be making sure my body is ready for games and making sure mentally I'm sharp and know what's going on the ice and what opportunities other teams have. So, yeah, just kind of keep my body warm and staying mentally alert.
Right. So this is your second stint in Hershey. I mean, you went off and then came back. So what was it like actually getting that call, last year before coming back to Hershey, and knowing that you were coming back to an organization that you knew?
I was just extremely excited, to be honest. I mean, St. Louis and Chicago were great places to play, but I mean, Hershey's a special place, and I knew a lot of the team from before, so it was very exciting to come back, and it's a great spot to play.
Yeah. One of the things that you kind of like to hear about is sometimes players hear about their trade or whatnot from different places. So if you think back to last year when you got that call, where were you? What was going on at the time?
I was in my apartment playing Monopoly with my girlfriend. I actually missed the first call, and the second one was from Mitch Korn, and I got that one. And when I saw it, it was right around the deadline, and I just had a weird feeling when I saw him calling. I was like, this could be a trade, and got it. And yeah, I was really excited.
Awesome. So obviously, I mean, you're past that rookie phase, and you've been in the league for a while. So, how do you, as a, maybe the veteran type that you are, hang around the prospects and everything. So what do you do with those guys? I mean, are you focused mostly on, like, you're in VTech's, your guys' skill, or do you go talk to a bunch of the other players in the league as well?
I mean, I just try and do the right things. Obviously, young guys, there's an adjustment for rookies and stuff, and same as when I was a rookie, it's always looking at the older guys. And for me, it was Groovy, and I was watching Groovy and kind of seeing how he did things, so I know those guys are watching, and I just want to set a good example and show them how to be a pro, I guess. But those guys, the rookies we have this year are good, and they do a good job. They take care of themselves, and they're good pros.
Right. What's your favorite thing about being a goaltender? I mean, whether it was growing up as a kid or in college or whatever, I mean, what's your mindset going into it that makes this fun for you?
Well, I mean, winning is obviously the funnest part, but knowing that you can be a difference in a game and being a positive difference in a game is a special feeling, and it's something that as a goaltender, that's what you want to do. You want to be a positive influence for your team and be there and when they need you and help them get the wins.
Right. Obviously at this point, Hershey's been eliminated from playoff contention. You don't want to get too far looking into next year, but the contract is what it is. How do you prepare going into the end of the season and then into the off season to prepare for Washington Capitals training camp next year?
I just try and get better every day. Every chance I get to play a game, every practice, try and get better and prove to the staff and everyone where I belong. And at the end of the day, that's all I can do, and hopefully I end up in a good spot. But other than that, yeah, I just try and get better every day and show them that I can earn a spot up there.
Awesome. All right, so kind of off the wall type question, but I mean, if you weren't a goaltender, is there any other position that you would have liked to have played at that point?
I think a forward would be fun. I like to. I think it'd be in front of the net, grinding away. Yeah. I think if I was a goalie, that'd be forward.
Well, it kind of explains a little bit of the fighting and in the past, and so that kind of takes that away. But how did that exactly come about? I mean, it's not a thing that you see, a whole lot as a goaltender coming out and having that physicality or having that, that fight. So, how does that happen in your mind to come out and just do something like that?
I mean, I want my teammates to know I have their back, and if the other goalie's down there and there's a scrum, I don't want to let him get involved, and then if we're on the PK or something and everyone's in there, obviously we're outnumbered, and I just want to let my teammates know I have their back, and I don't want anyone to be beaten up because there's two guys on it when I could help out.
Yeah, for sure. You got anything?
I do have a question that's going to be way off the wall.
Yeah.
I have heard through the grapevine that you paint.
Yeah.
And what got you into that? And
just my first year pro, actually in college, my roommate, one day we were just like, we're bored and
acrylics and
yeah, it was acrylic.
Yeah, I paint with acrylics too. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so then my first year pro, I obviously coming from college, I have a bunch of free time, so I was like, I might try that again. I enjoyed it.
And you do it in your free time,
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, whenever I'm in the mood,
to relax you and
yeah, always have
very
canvas
cool.
and acrylic. Yeah.
Very cool.
One last thing, just for your goaltending standpoint, I mean, what's the difference between your college days to your pro days? So, I mean, what's the difference in the game and just that standpoint of how you prepare?
From the game's smarter, I think, as in college. I guess in pro there's more options. Guys are a little bit smarter. They'll make an extra play or they know the game a little better. Where in college it's more a lot of hard guys work really hard, but they're not as intelligent yet with the game. So and then obviously in pro there's 76 games here. In college I think 30, maybe 40 if you go all the way. So and a lot more travel in pro as well. So yeah, I think the big thing is games and finding a way to get comfortable getting a groove.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Thanks, Jay.